Marjorie Taylor Greene, a U.S. Congresswoman out of Georgia, a QAnon alum. This woman gets upset over the craziest things. Now, remember, she just gave this big apology, held a press conference, and said she made these anti-Semitic statements, and she was just so sorry for the people that she hurt. Now, Mad-Marge is at it again. This time lashing out at the Attorney General Merrick Garland for his announced strategy to combat domestic terrorism, which, by the way, is a good thing. I thought these individuals were pro-police and anti-terrorist. It was, of course, another appearance on Real America's Voice, and with poster child of the white supremacy movement, Steve Bannon. And here's what Marjorie Taylor Greene had to say.
I've been watching his comments on the screen behind you, Merrick Garland, and here's the real concern. What is domestic terrorism? So, I mean, define this. You know, here we have Antifa BLM that terrorized American citizens for the year. I mean, imagine the summer of rage this past summer. They burned
a year ago this week.
Yeah, starting. Right. So they burned businesses, they burned cities, attacked police officers, took over police precincts, tore down monuments, attacked federal buildings. Literally, that is insurrection. They're attacking federal buildings, police officers. They're trying to dismantle every bit of law enforcement in all of these cities. And who are the victims? The American people. Is that not domestic terrorism?
You see what she did there? She made it seem like the other people are not American citizens and only white people are in fact American citizens in her narrative. There was data collected, 7,305 events. Most of the violence that did take place was in fact directed against BLM protesters. Protesters or bystanders were reported injured in 1.6% of the protest. In total, at least 3 Black Lives Matter protesters and 1 other person were killed while protesting in Omaha, Austin, and Kenosha, Wisconsin. Police were reported injured in 1% of the protest. A law enforcement officer killed in California was allegedly shot by supporters of the far-right Boogaloo movement, not anti-racism protesters. Only 3.7% of protesters involved property damage or vandalism. Some portion of these involved neither police nor protesters, but people engaging in vandalism or looting alongside protesters. In short, the data suggests 96.3% of the events involved no property damage or police injuries. And in 97.7% of events, no injuries were reported among participants, bystanders, or police. You see, those are facts. Those are facts. And now Marjorie Taylor Greene is trying to rewrite history in real time with one of the white supremacist architects known as Steve Bannon. What are your thoughts about this, Ben?
You know, it's fascinating how easily she conflates our fight for justice with Nazis and terrorism. And like, for them, it wasn't a terrorist act to march up the steps of the Capitol on January 6th. And 5 people get killed, and they raid the Capitol and break into the Speaker of the House office. None of that is problematic to them. What's problematic is when Black folks go out to protest on behalf of Black lives. That really shows you their value system. There's a severe disconnect in their humanity. And what they prioritize is certainly not Black lives or the fight and the plight of the common man, common person. What they prioritize is their access to and control of power. And they're very dangerous people.
Very well said. And they're actually for terrorists. I would call Marjorie Taylor Greene a terrorist sympathizer. And look at what she said in defense of the terrorist attack on January 6th.
Yeah, here he is on the screen. I've been watching his words, defining domestic terrorism as white supremacy, racism, people that went on January 6th. And let's talk about what is our Constitution? What does it guarantee us the ability to do, Steve? It guarantees us the right to dismantle a government when it becomes tyrannical. And so let's ask the real question: what is domestic terrorism? Is it really what this Merrick Garland and the Democrats are telling us? It's the people that went to Washington on January 6th because they really wanted accountability from their government, and they knew what we all know and what I cannot wait to see come out, that there was real election fraud.
She's a terrorist sympathizer. This is criminal. Just so you understand, we have arrested people in the United States of America for supporting foreign terrorists, but we don't arrest people in the United States of America when they happen to be Americans supporting domestic terrorism. It doesn't make sense. The law is unequally applied, and I hope at some point this Justice Department gets it together and they bridge the two. Now, this is from CBS News. CBS News says authorities have connected at least 67, count that, 67 alleged rioters to extremist groups, including the Proud Boys, Oath Keepers, 3 Percenters, Texas Freedom Force, and the conspiracy ideology QAnon. These are terrorists, pure and simple. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And if they are saying we need to judge them differently because they are in fact white people in America, well, that should show you the innate privilege that they expect to receive from the United States government. Ben, your thoughts?
In that clip, she's talking about the right to revolution. Okay, Marjorie, continue along those lines of that argument. She obviously put herself in a position in that clip to do exactly what you just said. What she was saying in there is criminal, because she's making the case for what happened on January 6th while the FBI is investigating the people for what they did on January 6th. She's a sympathizer, she's complicit, she's a co-conspirator, and she's sitting in Congress.
Man, isn't it sad? But see, this is what happens, and I said this when Donald Trump was president. I said Trump will come and go. And if you think that Trump will not steal control after he has left, you are in for a rude awakening, because he inspired people like Marjorie Taylor Greene to run for office. And you have many who will subscribe to her ideology out of a political survival tactic within the Republican Party and adhere to these fundamental extreme views, but will absolutely not truly believe them. Well, that's the Trump effect. The Trump effect is not just because he's been able to make some real believers out here like Marjorie Taylor Greene, but because he has figured out a way to shut up individuals who may not actually be down with the program, but they don't have a backbone.
He's a master of that, and therein lies the problem of the Republican Party, and actually the problem. Yeah,
you
of the
said it
Democratic
right the first time, brother. You said it right the first time.
It is a problem, because if they don't understand the depth that this runs in the Republican Party, then they're not equipped to fight against it. They're not ready for what's coming.
Marjorie Taylor Greene upset because we have the audacity to say the terminology domestic terrorist. Domestic terrorist fits. Anytime you utilize criminality, violence, force in order to make a political point, that is in fact terrorism. And if you do it on your own soil, it is considered to be domestic terrorism. So it fits by way of definition, and it fits also by way of legal statute.